Today we will go over Lesson 13 Day 2, solving trig ratios for side lengths. You'll want to make sure your calculator is in degree mode. If you're not sure if it is or not, take a look at the bottom of your calculator screen, right above the up arrow, and you should see the letters D, E, G. If it is not in degree mode, you'll want to click the button to the right of the second key, and then click on D, E, G. So let's start off with some examples. We're going to solve for x and round to the nearest hundredth. So number 1 says sine of 15 degrees equals x over 2. If we want to get x by itself, we're going to multiply both sides by 2. So now we have 2 times the sine of 15 equals x. Go ahead and type that part on the left in your calculator. 2 times the sine of 15, and then round to the nearest hundredth. We should get 0.52 equals x. Then make sure you go ahead and write your variable on the left side for your final answer. Number 2, cosine of 78 degrees equals x over 12. Let's start by multiplying both sides by 12. So now we have 12 times the cosine of 78 degrees. We can type that in our calculators. And round to the nearest hundredth. You get 2.49 equals x. Again, make sure you write your variable on the left side, and then that's our final answer. Number 3 says tangent of 31 degrees equals 5 over x. So let's start by multiplying both sides by x so we can get that out of the denominator. Now, we can't type the left side into our calculator, but we do have x times the tangent of 31 degrees equals 5. Notice that I did write the parentheses in around 31, but in the original problem it did not have parentheses. They actually mean the same thing. I usually just write the parentheses in because that's how you're going to see it on your calculator. So to stay consistent, I always just put those in when I'm showing my work. So now if we want to get x by itself, we would divide both sides by the tangent of 31. So we get x equals, go ahead and type this part in, 5 divided by tangent of 31, and if we round to the nearest hundredth, we get x equals 8.32. Number 4 says sine of 35 degrees equals 10.5 over x. Let's start again by multiplying both sides by x. So now we have x times the sine of 35 equals 10.5. From here we can divide both sides by sine of 35. So now we have x by itself, and we can type in everything on the right side. 10.5 divided by the sine of 35. To the nearest hundredth, that would be 18.31. Okay, up next we're going to use these triangles to solve for x. So notice that in each triangle we are given an acute angle. So number 5, we are given angle N. So if that's the angle that we're focused on, I can see that across from angle N, we are trying to find that side, which is x, and that would be our opposite side. Then we are also given the side across from our right angle, 8.7, so that would be our hypotenuse. So think about that saying, SOHCAHTOA, So if we are working with the opposite side and the hypotenuse, if you look for the letters O and H, that would tell us to use the sine function. So we can say that the sine of angle N equals the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. Now we can plug in everything that we know. So we know that angle N is really 20 degrees. We know that our opposite side we are representing with x, and our hypotenuse is 8.7. So if we want to solve for x, we would need to multiply both sides by 8.7. Now we can type everything in the left into our calculator. 8.7 times the sine of 20, and that gives us 2.98 for x. So x equals 2.98 centimeters. All right, let's take a look at number 6. Number 6, the acute angle that they give us is angle A. So that would make 6.1 our opposite side. And then x is across from our right angle, so that would be our hypotenuse. Notice that they do have another side in here labeled y, but that's not what we're trying to find, so I'm just going to ignore that for now. We don't need to worry about that side at all. So if we are working with our hypotenuse and our opposite side, again we are going to use the sine function. So I can say that the sine of angle A equals the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. So if we substitute in what we know, we have sine of 41 equals 6.1 over x. Now let's go ahead and solve for x. We'll multiply both sides by x to start with. So now we have x times the sine of 41 equals 6.1. So now we can divide both sides by the sine of 41. If we go ahead and type that in and round to the nearest hundredth, we get x equals 9.30 inches. All right, we've got one more example to go through, and this actually happens to be that same example as the last one, except for now we're going to solve for y. The angle we are working with is angle A, which is 41 degrees. Across from angle A, we have 6.1, which is our opposite side. And then since we want to find y, that would be our adjacent side. So we don't have to worry about x at all for this problem. So since we are working with our adjacent side and our opposite side, we would want to use the tangent function. So we can say that the tangent of angle A equals our opposite side divided by our adjacent side. We know that angle A is 41 degrees. Our opposite side is 6.1, and our adjacent side is y. To solve for y, we can multiply both sides by y. That gives us y times the tangent of 41 equals 6.1. Then, if we divide both sides by the tangent of 41, now those will cancel out, and we have y by itself. So y equals 6.1 divided by the tangent of 41, which is 7 0.02 inches.